Hello and welcome to the Saw Tackle bait prep room. Thought to just a quick one really, just to cover a question we often get asked in the shop is how long will maggots last, and how best to look after them. It's not difficult, but there is a few things that really, to keep them in the best condition you can and keep them for as long as possible, best things to do. So I thought we'd just have a quick look at what to do really, what's the best way to look after maggots, certainly now while the weather's changing. So give us a minute, I'll just prep some stuff up together and I'll be back in a minute. Right then, so how's best to look after maggots? Well, depends on how you bought them really. If you're buying them straight from the shop, obviously you'll get them absolutely A1 condition. Preferably if you bought your bait tub, we'll put them in the bait tub for you and off you go. So that's one thing, and then but obviously there is a bit of looking after when you get home. Quite a few of you actually purchase your maggots online from us, so they'll come basically like this. I mean, obviously this is not sealed, but it'll be a sealed bag. The maggots would take majority of the air out, so they'll come to you kind of like that, in another bag, which time best we possibly can, temperature control it, so they'll go in effectively inside of a jiffy bag in a box. Anyway, so as a turn up like that, as soon as you've got them, is open the bag. They will be pretty much dormant when you get them like that. So best thing to have, and this is something to have whether you're buying bait from the shop or bait on a hole. I like to use, I've got some small trays like that. This is one from home. There's also is cat litter trays. Cat litter trays are flipping perfect for it, especially if you're lucky to have a small domestic fridge at home. You'll find that the smaller cat litter trays will actually fit inside it. So your best off is to have small trays, not bait tubs really. You need a nice surface area for them to go on. So if you got them through the post, they're going to take a good few hours, if not four or even overnight, to revive. I've actually done lots of experiments with this in the past, just to see how best. Normally about 4 hours they'll start to come round. Obviously you're going to get the odd casualty along the way, but don't just chuck them casualties away. Sometimes, and I found it where they've been left, like I say, overnight, probably 8-10 hours, and I've gone back in and they've come back to life. So don't just chuck them all away. So anyway, is come, or when you get home from the shop, you want a cat litter tray, bait tray, something along those lines, or a bait bucket. Put them in, so they just go straight in the tray like that. Obviously these are live, these have not been had the air taken out, so they go in the tray, so they've got loads of room to move around in. Maggots react to a light, and I know you may have noticed this over the years if you've been fishing for a long time. They also react to sound, or like vibration, stuff like that. So what I like to do is tip them in a tray, give them a really good shake around, just to try and almost force them a wink, and then leave them in the tray for a good few hours. Say not in direct sunlight, but in light, cool. You don't want them in the heat, like it's starting to warm up nicely now. You don't want them in heat, so it's just nice, yeah, if that makes sense. So they're like that in the tray. So we'll give them, let's say they've been out for 4 or 5 hours. So what's the next step we would do? Right, so the next step we would do is, obviously we send them, whether they're at the shop or coming in the post, they're as clean as we can get them, and we always put them with maize. Plenty of maize flour in. So realistically speaking, that maize flour wants changing, cleaning off. So a flower sieve is great. You can get, I know sort of flower sieves are fairly small, aren't they? You can, if you have a look around in the range and probably, I don't know, some of the bigger supermarkets, you can get them in a tray as well. So for putting in a drainer, basically putting in a sink and draining off I don't know, salads and stuff like that when you've washed them. If you've got one of those, obviously tip them into that and then use your tray so it's in the tray, and then you should be able to shake them off and shake all the old maize off. It's still going to leave some of the bigger bits in it, probably still leave some skins and maybe some dead maggots and stuff like that. So once you've done that, clean them off, you want, realistically speaking, really, is most of us got ground bait buckets. That's again one from home. That's a, I don't know, the 45 litres, something, a fairly decent sized bait bucket anyway. Some riddles. So I've got a 3mm and a 5mm. You generally find that the 5mm is the right one for maggots. 3mm generally use either for shaking them off and getting some of the dust off, or that's my pinky riddle at home. So once obviously clean them all off, got all the old maize off, I'll run them through a riddle. So all we'll do is chuck them on the riddle, run them through, and I don't know, it'll take it. Don't put too much on, don't load the riddle up to the top, because I don't know how they do it, but somehow they will just lie flat and they just don't seem to go through. So put a small amount in, let them run through, take the waste off, put another amount in, let them run through. You take off any deads or anything like that, and then you want some fresh maize. So obviously we do fresh maize, you'll see that obviously we do that. You can get that in the shop, you can get that online, quite a few of you have got that. Add some fresh maize to them, and then that just keeps them nice, it just cleans them off. And then pop them back in your tray, keep them in your tray, pop the tray, if you can, if you've got a bait fridge, in the fridge. Don't cover them. A lot of times people say, oh, my mate's gone frothy, it's this, that and the other, oh, they've gone horrible. Tend to find it's probably because people put them in a bait box, in a small bait box, a normal sort of pint or 2 pint bait box with the lid on. Listen, the maggots are breathing, and in the cold atmosphere inside a fridge or even on a garage floor or anything, it condensates basically inside the box, so you get condensation and it starts to turn them all frothy, because obviously they're breathing and they're trying to keep themselves warm, really, which is where the problem comes. So if you leave them without a lid on, the air moves around better, it stops that basically. As long as you keep the maize clean, it will stop it. The other trick you can do, which is some of these new sort of tubs that are starting to come around, quite a few companies do them now, almost like a, I don't know, plasticky type tub with a nice mesh top. These are bloody brilliant, to be fair. Not the cheapest things out there, unfortunately, but they're far better than the old-fashioned maggot tubs. But you could put them in there and they will actually breathe better in there, because obviously the vent, and there's less chance of them getting out. I mean, done like that, I don't think we've ever, in all the years of being in the shop, ever had any get out. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So it's not difficult. The main thing is say, if you're trying to keep them longer, if you want to, so right, go out for a session, I don't take them all with me, run them through again, clean maize. You probably want, every couple of 3 days, maybe just running through your riddle. If the maize is looking a bit manky, then obviously use a sieve, get the old maize off, put some new maize on, and so on. You're going to just keep them clean, just look after them. You'll be surprised how long they last, actually. And sometimes older maggots are actually a little bit better than fresh maggots, especially if you're fishing for a lot of small stuff. There's a lot of skimmers and stuff around. It'll just take a bit more punishment. So that's it, really. I hope that's of help. If you want to ask any more questions, obviously stick some comments down below. But if that gives you a bit of a basic idea of how to look after maggots, pinkies are the same, exactly the same with your pinkies, excuse me. Obviously you just need a small riddle to run them through to get any waste off. We've talked about squats before, they're a different kettle of fish altogether. And that's it. And I suppose the only other thing is if you wanted to flavour your maggots, which some people do, some people like to add turmeric to them, stuff like that. That's perfect time to add in turmeric to them. While they're sat in the tray with maize and everything, add the turmeric to the maize and they'll move around in it and they'll take on that scent. Okay, right, well, I shall see you all soon. Take care, guys. Bye bye.